Gavman, good. And to those who voted for me, I promise to continue saying these fuzzy words with my fuzzy voice, because that's what being governor of California is all about. I also look forward to our continued fight against homelessness. Not homelessness, homeness. Because those of you who live in a home instead of a tent are being very uninclusive, and together we can defeat homelessness. Over the past 2 years, you've allowed me to mandate rules that make no sense and then break those rules whenever I want. You also allowed me to shut down schools, which we now know was not completely necessary.
You know, maybe the people who voted in a sociopath deserve to be led by a sociopath. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Zuckerdeski here of wearechange.org, and we have a lot of absolutely crazy and bewildering news to get into, just like, of course, the speech interpreter of a Biden presidency. This, as there are some very curious things happening internationally, not just in Ukraine, but also, of course, Saudi Arabia of all places. As here domestically, we have one bright note in this country, and that, of course, is Fetterman 2024. I am not kidding you. You won't believe how absurd our political discourse just got. All of this as we are still waiting for the results to come in from our recent midterm. All of this as other people are setting their sights on comedians and trying to censor and destroy their voices. What's really going on here specifically with Dave Chappelle? Well, we're going to be doing our best to answer that question and a lot more here on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, and the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is by the extremely talented Brent Pella, and he did an amazing job presenting a brilliant satirical look into the real acceptance speech by Governor Gavin Newsom of California, which was just reelected for some strange reason. And his parody is absolutely genius. It's funny. It's worth sharing. We only played a small clip of it. If you want to watch the full video and to subscribe to Brett's channel, you could do it just by checking out our description down below. He is definitely worth a watch, and we hope you guys subscribe to him right after this broadcast, as we really hope he does a parody of Joe Biden that came out and said this on the national stage just moments ago.
Biden's being Biden's being an extremist.
Yeah, that Biden guy, bad guy, according to Joe Biden. This, as during the same speech, he also told that Russia is pulling out of Fallujah, which again, you just can't believe that this is our modern discourse. But this is it. This is the man at the helm when the U.S. government is at one of its closest periods in recent history towards a total nuclear war with Russia. And if he can't get locations right, why would you think he could get policies right when clearly this man deserves a retirement? And the powerful lobbyists and the big multinational corporations and bankers that are still pushing him on the front stage are absolutely cruel to do this to this old man who is visibly struggling to even put together coherent sentences. Let the man rest. Let him relax. Let him enjoy some kind of retirement. But nope. He's going to be running for 2024. That's what the script he was given said when he read it, and told everyone that because of the midterm elections, he's not going to be changing anything, as he's boasting about how great his political party did, which probably means there's going to be more Great Reset, Build Back Better policies that have absolutely already wrecked the American middle and lower class and will continue to do so. Policies that, by the way, have set forward a green transition that the Biden administration has been patting themselves on the back of, that at the end of the day, what did it achieve? Well, it stopped domestic energy exploration and production, keeping cheap American energy that doesn't have to be transported unavailable, cutting the supply here domestically, while, of course, giving Saudi Arabia and Russia a higher market share and profits, since, you know, that the consumption of oil hasn't stopped. And yes, you heard that correctly. Biden's energy policy is directly enriching countries like Russia, which we are involved in a proxy war with using Ukraine that has been unofficially appointed to fight this war for us in exchange for, of course, Sean Penn going to the president of Ukraine and handing him an Oscar, which he did just a couple moments ago. All of this, as crude, is going up and will continue to go up as long as the conflict is raging, as long as the Biden administration keeps practicing the same policies, a part of their green revolution, and while the government is wreaking havoc and siege on your life, destroying your savings, eviscerating your ability to live any kind of semblance of normal life, eliminating any kind of possibility of economic prosperity, and the ability for you to lift yourself by the bootstraps. As the government squashes your freedom, what's the main thing that some people are discussing here in the United States? Well, how we need to cancel a comedian for being funny. One of the most smartest and most hilarious comedians, Dave Chappelle, is set to, of course, host Saturday Night Live this upcoming weekend, which is being met with boycotts for some strange reason. This is according to the Daily Mail, that is reporting how SNL writers are refusing to work with this comedian because he made jokes before that offended them. Yes, this is the topic of discussion as our society slowly breaks apart, and this is one observation of it, as of course people not only become more self-indulged, but also self-righteous, as the New York Post is reporting how individuals working at SNL will be boycotting this episode, leaving a lot of people asking themselves, did they ever hear of Eddie Murphy and what he did and the jokes he made? Being, of course, one of the main people that has helped SNL rise to its prominence, which is now being diminished by what can only be described as woke absolute nonsense comedy. And all the people upset about Dave Chappelle clearly have no clue or idea how edgy comedy was just a few years ago. And more importantly, the issue that they're mad about Dave Chappelle is an issue that Dave Chappelle also was an advocate for, as of course his story of his friend Daphne, according to a lot of individuals, did more for the trans acceptance community than of course any form of canceling him would ever be. So the people who are angry at him or angry at him for an issue that of course many people even see him as an ally of. All of this as it looks like there's actually fake Twitter accounts out there pretending to be Dave Chappelle, accusing him of allegedly saying that he's on Team TERF now. And again, you don't know what to believe online, with even this original story now being contested, as TMZ is reporting today that Dave Chappelle has been meeting and working with the SNL staff for already 3 days consecutively, and that, quote, there has been zero talks of an alleged boycott related to the show. And what is going to be happening this Saturday? Well, only time will tell, and we have to ask ourselves after listening to this story, is this a contrived narrative? Was this story real in the first place, or was it used as a PR campaign, a part of a larger witch hunt that is trying to make the outrage look like it's bigger than it originally was? And when it came to the previous protest at Netflix and its overestimation and promotion by the corporate media, when it comes to large institutions like Vice lending a voice to crazy, radicalized individuals who hate comedy, who think making people laugh and making people joke is some kind of accessory to physical assault, what is happening here should be a question that a lot of people should be asking themselves. As essentially, from my understanding, that this was an orchestrated witch hunt that was engineered and artificial from its very inception, meant to, of course, create a perception of something bigger when it absolutely wasn't in the first place. And who knows? I might be wrong, but one thing that I do know is that there is a lot of gaslighting, there is a lot of bots, there is a lot of fake news and disinformation out there in order to try to shape your perception to the point where now we can't even discuss particular issues on this broadcast, but we can on, of course, LukeUncensored.com, our very own platform, where we get to host our own videos, host our forum, have exclusive merchandise that we cannot show you to the general public, and, of course, even give you 3 masterclasses. All of that, plus a lot more, is all available to you, all on LukeUncensored.com. If you haven't signed up for our platform yet, what are you waiting for? It's just 50 cents a day. And in today's video, an exclusive video, which only members get, I will be talking about the deeper issues and events that Dave Chappelle previously spoke about, which eerily has a lot of similarities to what's happening to Kanye West. We're also going to be discussing the Kyrie Irving controversy. We're going to talk a little philosophy, but also try to center today's video on trying to make you the best version of yourself by curating the right amount of information so you can make the right decisions for your own individual life. LukeUncensored.com is where you get this exclusive video. You get them almost every single day. Sign up now if you haven't yet, just by clicking the link down in the description below, and I will see you there. Now, of course, we're still not even done here on this broadcast because there's so much news to get into. Absurd news, crazy news, and as you remember, a couple days ago, even a couple weeks ago, I was specifically calling for John Fetterman to be president of the United States, and it looks now that my larger idea is finally gaining steam, with now MSNBC echoing my calls for this kind of absurdity and calling for Fetterman to be president of the United States. You can't believe it until you listen to it, so here it is.
Fetterman as a nominee at some point for president. I know there's some variables, obviously, but just a few. But I just, what he did in the super red, deep red parts of Pennsylvania, and the way that he ran ahead of Biden, as you were saying, ran ahead of Trump. I mean, it just makes you wonder about his future.
What? What are you? That's our political landscape, where literally in Pennsylvania, the people there voted in a dead lawmaker only because he had the Democratic symbol behind him. Yes, a dead person was elected to state assembly in Pennsylvania. That's the type of absurdity that our modern political discourse has to be dealing with. This, as of course, our political system in some states still cannot count votes. All of this as we're still waiting for the official vote tally to come in from Arizona, where we also are getting a report that a new batch of some 60,000 fresh ballots were just found out. What? Again, come on. Georgia is going to be a runoff election, and it's probably going to determine the fate of the U.S. Senate. And politically, this has been just an entire mess, as it looks like the Senate will be split, and there will be a slight majority in the House for the Republicans, as according to many political experts, it's going to be very difficult for Herschel Walker to actually win this Senate race. What's going to be happening? How will this unfold? What will be the larger impacts of this? There's a civil war within a civil war, especially amongst the Republican Party. And man, at the end of the day, I could at least say it's not boring. It is tiresome. It is bewildering, but it's not boring. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org. One more video coming your way right now on LukeUncensored.com.